So thank you to everyone for joining us on today's Linux Foundation Decentralized Trust meetup. If you're on Zoom, you're welcome to join the conversation. If you're watching one of the live streams, if you have any questions, feel free to type in the chat there, or I'll put the link to the Zoom so you can dial in if you'd like to join the conversation. And if you're watching the recording, we'll provide some links as well in the description where you can find all the resources we'll be talking about for the mentorship program. And if you do participate in the call, we just ask that you go by our code of conduct, which basically says be respectful to everybody. If you want more details, there is a link here on this screen to where you can find it. And with that, I'm going to hand it off to Min. So, Min, thank you for organizing today's discussion about the mentorship program.
Yeah, thank you, David. Yeah, my name is Min. I am a program manager here at the Linux Foundation. One of my responsibilities is to manage the ELF Decentralized Trust Mentorship Program. I've done this a number of years, and every year there's something new, and I'm always very grateful and feel very rewarded to run this program because I really see the impact. Without further ado, I'm just gonna share my screen and yeah, so thank you again for joining today's meetup. So we are gonna hear some real stories and impact of our mentorship program. First off, I do want to give the panelists the floor, just have them introduce themselves, your name, where you're based, what mentorship were you a mentor, mentee? What mentorship program did you participate? That'll be great. We'll start maybe with Maria, just kind of the order of
Yes.
pictures on the screen.
Yes. Hello. I'm Maria Monaro. I'm a maintainer for the Fabric private chain code stream. I participated as a mentor. That's why I'm in the upper part of the slide. We had a joint membership with a lab, with a CC Tools lab, to be able to how to create a smart contract, a confidential digital asset using both Fabric private chain code and CC Tools.
Great, thank you. And great.
Hello, hello. My name is Umelewe Mwebedu. I also, go by the name Great. I'm a maintainer for Fablo, Hyperledger Labs Fablo, and the mentorship project I took part of, and this is my first time mentoring, was Fablo feature parity between Fabric 2 and Fabric 3. So yeah, that's it.
Thank you. And Rama?
Hi, I'm Rama. I work for IBM Research in India. I've been a maintainer on the Hyperledger Cacti project for several years, and I've also been a mentor on several different projects. I started in 2022, and my last mentorship was 25 when I actually mentored Carlos, who's on the panel here. We've offered projects on different aspects of the blockchain and DLT interoperability, and because Cacti is like a broad umbrella of features and tools that you need, sort of like a Swiss knife for interoperability. So, yeah, we can get into more details later, I guess.
Great. Thank you, Rama. And I don't think Carlos is on Zoom. Carlos, are you here? Unless you joined with a different name. No. All right. I don't see Carlos yet. Maybe we'll give him a chance to introduce himself later when he joins. Daniel?
Good day, everyone. My name is Perowi Daniel. I'm an infrastructure engineer based in Nigeria. I was in the Pablo Future Parity Mentorship for Hyperledger Labs. Yeah, thanks.
Yep. Thank you. And Osama? Can you hear us, Osama? You're still muted. Your audio is on now, Osama.
Yeah.
Great.
Hi everyone. My name is Osama Rabia. I'm from Egypt. I'm currently serving as a tech member in LFD Decentralized Trust, and I'm actively involved in building the decentralized trust ecosystem in Arabic.
Great. Well, thank you for the introductions, everybody. Welcome. When I see Carlos, I'll ask Carlos to say hi, but I still don't see him on the bridge yet. So with that, I'm gonna just do a quick introduction about our mentorship program. And I also saw that David, you put the mentorship program description in the chat. So, you know, for Hyperledger, or now we're of Decentralized Trust, we have supported and invested in mentorship program year after year. And one of the, some of the biggest reasons are, we really, it's one of the ways to drive Project House, because we're bringing in new contributors, new fresh perspectives. And these mentorship projects really help address some development backlogs, maybe create new features. So those are the great ways to drive Project House. Another reason why we keep investing in our mentorship program is to facilitate knowledge transfer, because we know a lot of new developers want to get into our open source community. The mentorship program creates a structure framework to connect people who are excited to learn and get into open source community with mentors who are seasoned open source contributors, maintainers in our community. And obviously, related to that, mentorship program also helps onboard new contributors. When we have this structured program, it really establishes not only structure, but also tangible paths. You are not only mentees are paired with mentors, but they're working on real projects. And these projects have tangible outcomes. So it's a great way to onboard new developers working towards something that's very tangible, that making an impact on our existing projects or labs. Additionally, it really builds a contributor flywheel. It's because we know a lot of mentees who participate in our program have gotten hired by companies who are in the blockchain or Web 2, Web 3 space. And some of them became mentors or maintainers. So it really creates that virtuous cycle. So those are some of the main reasons we feel we want to, I just want to highlight, just verbalize why, of Decentralized Trust keeps investing in mentorship year after year. And with that, mentors and mentees already introduced themselves. I have a set of questions. They're very open-ended questions that I'm going to ask the mentors and mentees. So with that, the first question is, what were your motivations for choosing to participate in our mentorship program? And this is a question for both mentors and mentees. Whoever wants to jump in first.
Okay, I think I can go. So my main motivation was to contribute to the sustainability of open source ecosystem. I was part of this system. Like I mentioned, I was once a mentee for an LFX mentee at the time, and being a product of that, that initiative, I felt like I could definitely give back to it. I see two perspectives right now. I'm a maintainer, and before I was a mentee. So I know how difficult it is, to land your first contribution, especially for a quality contribution. The mentor, I figured that mentorship is going to, help bridge that gap between, guiding new developers through real world projects, what it's community practices, and how to develop collaboratively. Sometimes when mentees come in, they don't usually they do have the skill, but it's not very well refined. So my motivation was to continue fostering that ecosystem. And I'm always happy to give back.
Thank you. Yeah, it's nice to hear since you've been both started out as a mentee and then was a mentor last year. So it's great to hear your perspectives from both sides.
I think one of the other things is the fact is that you get more help, right? So if you want, there are other things that you want to do, but since you are contributing, but it not sometimes it's not you're not doing it as a part of your formal job, right? So that way you know there are things that you want people to do, or this would be nice for it to happen, and that way you don't have to, there's someone else that's also doing part of the work, you're overseeing it, and that way you help contribute, grow, but without having to actually do everything yourself, right? And in the meantime, obviously you're teaching someone else on how to work in a group, and all that obviously is really good, but for the project per se, you get more things in your project, and the person that's helping also gets something out of it because they get recognition and all of that, right? So I think in that sense, it's like kind of a no-brainer. Why not try to have a mentorship project and get a mentee to be able to help and see how it moves forward?
Yep. Thank you, Maria. That's very, great to hear. You definitely get additional help from other contributors who are eager to learn to help your project. But also, Maria, I hear, you're saying it maybe for mentors, this is also an opportunity to kind of hone your teaching, guiding, and leadership skills in a way, right? So thank you. And I do see Carlos here now. Carlos, do you mind just introduce yourself? We actually started the panel questions, but I'll give you a chance to introduce yourself first.
Okay, so I'm sorry I looked bad the
It's okay.
hours. So this timing difference is always a problem. So yes, basically I'm a PhD student at Technico. I'm researching blockchain interoperability, focusing in blockchain semantics and gateway. Right now I'm a maintainer of Hyperledger Cacti, the project that I was a mentee in the last mentee program.
Thank you for the introduction. We'll continue with this question. So this question I'm showing on the slide, what were your motivations for choosing to participate in our mentorship program? We already heard from Maria and we heard from Gray. And who else would like to chime in here?
I can close off the mentor panel. So I was going to say one of the things I was going to say was what Maria already said, which is this program offers the most structured way and offers the most motivation for people to actually contribute to the project. So if you have a large feature set and you don't have enough people to work on it, which I think is true of all of the projects under LFDT, then you need the community to help to contribute to those features. The other thing I want to say is that getting mentees is also a great way to get future maintainers. And Carlos here is an example of that. He was a mentee last year and he had actually already been a contributor before. So that helped him during the mentorship. But then his contributions have been solid enough for several years. And at some point, I think late last year, he became an official maintainer. So all of our projects, I think, as we have seen it, especially with Cacti, is the projects sort of outlive their initial founders, and that's what you want to achieve with these projects. You cannot just depend on the initial founders always being around to work on them, right? So to build and evolve the maintainer pool, you need more strong contributors, and this is the best program, I think, for that.
That's wonderful to hear. Yeah, it definitely is a great way to accelerate and nurture, right, potential contributors to, becoming maintainer and help sustaining kind of the longevity and the health of the project. So thank you very much. Anybody else would like to chime in?
My main
Yeah,
motivation
wanted to add a few things, sorry, Osama. So
yeah,
yeah, for me as a cloud infrastructure engineer, like I mentioned, I work with open source tools mostly. El- literally everything I use is open source. And these open source tools make my job easier. They make my life easier. They save costs and things like that. So, my actual motivation was I need to contribute to these tools to make life easier for the next person. Understand? I mean, the point of engineering is solving a problem for someone else, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
actively contributing to tools that are being used by real companies, are being used in production environments. That was my motivation. That was what made me come to the LF Plus mentorship program. And I'm actually really happy that it worked out and I was able to, contribute so many cool things at Summer. Yeah.
That's great to hear. Yeah, open source is, the code is open and you're, building something that everybody can potentially use. So that's, thank you.
yeah. My main motivation was to gain real experience contribution to an open source project and learn from experienced mentor. I was also very interested in decentralized technology and the ecosystem around the Linux Foundation. Also, I see the mentorship as a great opportunity to improve my technical skill, understand how large open source projects are maintained, and collaborate with developers from the global community.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, a lot of projects under the Linux Foundation, they already have, pretty large communities. So, and a lot of the maintainers and contributors are, professionals, right, who are also your mentors. So it's a great way, definitely, to learn from all these people. So thank you all. I will move on to the next question. This is also a question for both mentors and mentees. What have been some of the most significant real-world impacts on the open source projects you contributed, or your career or personal growth as a result of your participation in the program?
So real world impact, because of the mentorship, because we created a joint mentorship, I learned a lot about another lab, another project, which maybe I wouldn't have because of that. And it also makes me even more aware of the other projects, right? Because since ours was successful, it's like, okay, let's see if what can we gain by collaborating with another with another project and to create a joint mentorship, right? And the fact that I learn about it means I meet other people and I start working with other people, and I think that is always personal growth and opens doors career-wise, right? So I don't see a downhill because of it.
That's great to hear from a mentor's perspective. Yeah, sometimes we focus so much on, mentors are teaching and guiding the mentees. But yeah, this also opens doors for you to cross collaborate with, maintainers from other labs and projects in our in Elf Decentralized Trust. So that's great to hear.
So it's not a personal growth story as such, but I think one of the mentees we had, this was in 24, she was an experienced software developer, but she did not have a background in blockchain, and she wanted to learn something about blockchain. So this was a good opportunity for her to gain that experience, learn something from us, as well as teach us something as well. And because she was an experienced software developer, we actually learned something from her too. There was at the end of the mentorship, when she gave a presentation in one of the meetups, she gave a lot of very good lessons for how we could improve our code base and the CI/CD pipeline and such like that. So yeah,
Wow.
that is good.
Yeah, so bringing in that fresh perspective to our community, but also, yeah, adding another, experience and skill set to the basket of the contributor that would definitely benefit her future careers as well. That's great. Anybody else?
Yeah, during the mentorship, I contribute to Fablo by fixing several bugs and improving part of the code base. I also implemented a feature, export network topology, which help user visualize the structure of the Hyperledger Fabric network. This feature is useful because it allows developer to better understand how organization, peer, and the channel are connected, which can help with debugging, documentation, and managing complex network. On a personal level, the mentorship helped me improve my problem-solving skill and give me a real-world experience working with production open source project.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the technical contributions you've made. I'm sure, the community appreciates that. But, for you, right, just to be able to work with, a broader community, gaining that visibility, now that you're on the technical advisory council, I think that's definitely very beneficial to you as well.
So
Yeah, so
sorry.
yeah.
So in my case, so I was a contributor to Cacti before, and with this mentorship, because Cacti is different from most of the other projects from the Linux Foundation. It's composed of two projects that were merged. So I had some knowledge on the part of the Cactus, but I didn't have any knowledge on the Weaver part. So basically, this was to grow more into Weaver, to explore and learn more that project itself. And with this, I gained knowledge in a way that I was more familiar with all of the repo there, and I learned how to faster understand and learn a new project and to deep dive into that. And also because of that, there were a lot of problems that appears in the way, and I became more proactive in doing work, so that it appears a problem there, so I need to resolve that problem that is not of my code, because in open source there is not my code, it's our code. And in this way, yeah, I learned to be more proactive in that sense, not being waiting for someone to fix something and just go and do that. Yeah.
That's great insight. Yeah, sort of this code base is maintained by the community, right? You're part of that community, and sometimes you just kind of have to, be proactive and yeah, pick up, the whatever that's not done and move things forward. Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I was just going to, add something to that.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of what my mentees worked on last year, which was Osama and Daniel, by the way. They worked on testing, documentation, and ensuring feature parity across versions between Fabric 2 and 3. And this work that they did was really, really important. In terms of the real world impact of that, was that we saw more users of Fablo, because now we support we have less bugs, we have proper testing, we have proper documentation, and we also like fully support Fablo 3. So in terms of the people that adopted Fablo due to that work, this also increased. And something I also think is a really meaningful impact was I saw the mentees, transition from not knowing what Fabric is or even Fablo is, and them being first-time contributors. Now they are, active community members. For example, Osama is now the TLC board. Um, so this I think is really, really, really important to highlight.
Yeah. Definitely, yeah. I think it's a pretty immersive experience, and it's so gratifying to me also to hear, it's the program really activates people's long-term contribution as well beyond their formal participation in the program. Anybody else or? All right, I'll move on. So, I get this question, often. So, what is a typical day like in the life of a mentor or mentee? Like a mentor, what's the lift? How many hours am I spending, teaching or mentoring the mentee? And I think, right, also during the different phases of the mentorship, when I think of onboarding, maybe midway and final phases, maybe the typical day is a little bit different. So if you could, give people on this call or watching the live stream some sense of what a typical day is like in the life of a mentor mentee, or maybe illustrate that maybe during the beginning, midway, or final phase.
Yeah.
Okay,
Sorry,
yeah,
wait.
I could just go ahead with that. In terms of like from the mentee perspective, something I think we did in Fablo that was really important was that we meet every Friday during like the mentorship. And like you said, depending on the phase, if it's onboarding, midway, or final phase, it depends on what we do on that day. So on in the onboarding phase, for example, I the meetings on Friday. We sort of do like a Fabric 101. Basically, teach them the fundamentals of Fabric, right? How you can set up your environment, understand the project architecture. These are where tests are. You have to sign your commits. Like the very basic 101, right? And give them even though you are doing onboarding, we sort of give them really small tasks, right? Come back with some kind of documentation on like your understanding of the current code base. Can you fix this typo in the document? Just very small tasks. So and also tests, right? Make them write tests, because this writing test is a way to get familiar with like the code base. And then in the mid phase, we start having those mentees start implementing core changes, according to the project proposal. So in these phases, we start having, during our meetings and our calls, hey, this is how you should implement this. We do code review, right, on the call, maybe some, design discussions. So a lot of time is basically spent, reviewing their pull requests and, talking architectural decisions with them on the call. Then if in the final phase, then it's more about polishing, deliverables, documentation, testing, and, making them aware they have done, a wonderful job. And make them make them understand they have done a wonderful job, basically. And the priority just shifts towards documentation, testing, and the rest. So yeah, that is what a typical day in my life as a mentor looks like. It's not also all day work. We also try to be mentors, right? How are you doing? And how their everyday life goes to. So that's personal relationship also helps.
Yeah, thank you for that very detailed description. Anybody have anything to add?
Yeah, I wanted to add something. Um, And please let me know if my microphone is better. I think someone complained in my first speech.
Yeah, we can
Yes.
hear.
So yeah. So the first phase was mostly about understanding the architecture of the project, right? What Pablo is, what Fabric is. I was a complete newbie, right? I had no idea what Fabric was. So you have to understand everything, learn how to set up Pablo manually on my local machine, manage peer environments and everything. So a lot of time was really spent building code base and experimenting with local network setups, right? So, but by the middle phase, I understood the project structure, right? I understood the system better. So my work shifted towards features, submitting pull requests and writing tests. It means writing code testing deployments and everything. And then towards the end, I was a lot more comfortable with the project. There was room for me to suggest improvements, room for us to think more about how new features can be adopted, what Pablo is right now and how we can scale it out, how we can add more features to it and everything. So that was pretty much how it is. And in typical day, it's not like Grace mentioned earlier, it's not work every day, right? I don't know if everyone is the same, but Pablo required a certain number of hours from us weekly, so and all those hours actually could fit into one day. So just one day out of the entire week to dedicate your time to do what you need to do for your mentorship. So it's not everyday work, it's just gradual, it's a gradual process, and you see yourself getting better and contributing meaningful things to meaningful projects.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah, in my case, it was pretty similar. Basically, on the onboarding phase to get everything working. We were more synchronous in a way that we did more help in more on coding, pair coding programming help and stuff. Going to the midway, we transitioned to something more asynchronous. And yeah, basically we transitioned to be more synchronous because of our time differences, on time zone differences, and the way that because in my case, because I was so much more comfortable with the project, I was getting work done without the constant helping of the mentor. And yeah, basically most of the communication was done via the GitHub, via the PRs, the comments, and the reviews, etc. Yeah.
That's great. Maria and Rama, do you have anything from a mentor perspective? What a typical
Yes.
day is like? Just for those who are
So
thinking about, making a mentorship project proposal.
yes. So as Umbegwe, we had a weekly call on Fridays. It was for me. It was Friday morning because we also had our mentee was in India. My other mentor, my co-mentor, was in Germany, and Samuel, the other mentor, and I were in here in Latin America. So we did them Friday morning. In the beginning, usually the initial onboarding, those meetings, even though we had it for an hour, they might extend to more of an hour because obviously it's in the learning phase, right? So they're trying to understand everything. So you start asking questions, and maybe not all three of us mentors would end up participating in the whole call, but it depended on where the question was focused. It was Samuel, it was Marcus, or it was myself, right? Midway, I could even say that sometimes the meetings were even shorter sometimes. So because Avinav was working and he was programming, so he would just give us an update. Oh, I did this, and then okay, he's moving forward. Then in the final phases, we start reviewing the code. We start testing to see if what he developed is actually working. So it takes more of our time offline. And then the meetings would maybe stay the same length or not. We did, the meetings were like every week. But we also communicated via Discord. So we had our own group, and if need be, he would send ask us a question and we could reply afterwards. So it wasn't that only on Friday we spoke with him, right? It sprinkled, there was a synchronous communication going on. I understand from the mentee perspective that the idea is that it doesn't take them a whole work week, right? But it's just a couple of it used to be, I think it was 20 hours, what I remember. I don't know if now it's thought about like that, but never that they would need to dedicate their whole work week to be able to do it. Our previous mentee, I think he worked. So I think during the weekends is when he managed to do most of the stuff. He would during the weekend is when he would do everything, and then and not apply himself so much during the work week, right? But just that's what I could comment about the two mentorships that I've been in.
Yeah. So it definitely kind of varies, but what I hear is, regular check-ins between mentors and mentees on a weekly basis, and then some asynchronous communications through, different online tooling and infrastructure that we set up here. So it definitely changes a little bit too, right? In the beginning, seems maybe a little more intense, and then and the type of work that mentees do also kind of changes and varies throughout the course of the mentorship. So yeah, hopefully this is insightful to those who are listening. Thank you very much. And yeah, so this question is for mentors. If you look at the mentorship program, that link that David posted, our right now we are accepting mentorship project proposals. So we're asking maintainers and active community contributors, developers to submit a mentorship project proposal. The deadline is actually coming up pretty soon, Friday next week, March 13th. And with that in mind, so I just want to ask the mentors on this call, for maintainers and developers who are thinking about proposing a mentorship project, what is your key guidance for proposing a compelling mentorship project that will benefit, obviously needs to benefit LFDT project or lab, but also nurture the growth of a new contributor?
Maybe I can start. I think maybe my guidance will sound a bit vague, but I would say propose something that you find really interesting and compelling. I think that if you find it interesting, probably people who you're seeking will also find that interesting. And yeah, and write the proposal in a way that makes it sound interesting. Otherwise, if people feel like you're just proposing something that sounds very vague, and it's a kind of you just want additional maintenance help on a project, I think it's maybe hard to attract good mentees. Also, in the outcomes, or have something pretty concrete on some real world benefits that a mentee will get. Like maybe a lot of people are in the early stages of the career, maybe even in school, so they don't know how professional software engineering works. So you can tell them, yeah, this is you learn how to write good production code that can be that needs to be robust. It's not just about thinking of some cool feature and implementing it in some haphazard manner. You will learn how to do this in a way that will give you a leg up when you're interviewing in a few years from now. So interest and good, well-defined benefits.
Yep, the outcome, yeah, needs to be very specific. And yeah, what I hear is, yeah, write quality code definitely will be something beneficial for new contributors to learn.
Also, something that is not really big. It has to be, let's say, something that can, so that you have an outcome, but it's something that can be done in 6 months, right? Not something that, hey, it won't be enough time and they'll just be the starting point. No, it has to be something that's more rounded and that can be done in the time that they have. For example, adding new samples is a good way for them to learn what the technology is, give back, and it's something that's visible and can be used by others. So it does have an impact, right? Doesn't mean that core code doesn't have an impact, but it does. But it's not as apparent, maybe, and as visible as, for example, a sample could have, right? Or doing some proof of concept of, okay, this would work like that. That's something closed off, small, biteful that they can work on.
Yeah, something more contained, right?
Yes.
Feels complete for the end of the mentorship. Yep.
Yeah, I will just add to that I'm going to sell you my secret of producing a compelling proposal. So me and my co-maintainers, we spend like weeks deliberating what the kind of proposal we're about to make and what the mentees are going to work on. So try to have some clarity on that. So something this is how we usually structure it. First, we describe the project. We describe, of course, what Fablo is, right? And then we talk about our need. Hey, that we need these features, the features that are in Fabric 2 to be supported in Fabric 3, right? And then we talk about what it is in for the mentee, right? We are going to tell you about what you are going to work on and likely what you benefit from, working on Fablo. And then we also talk about like the expected outcome and deliverables. So this is like a structure that has worked for us.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, what's in it for the future mentee, right? When they do this. Yeah. All right, and I have one more question for mentors. So obviously we will, put the mentorship projects on LFX mentorship platform for mentee applicants to apply, and we get, I think, a lot of projects get a lot of applications. I really appreciate all the mentors taking the time to, read through them and select the ones that, you would like to work with. So what are some of the top valuable characteristics that you look for in a mentee applicant, and how do they directly relate to their success in the program? So what are the mentee characteristics you look for in the applications, and why do you choose those characteristics?
So I can just to pull out some negative examples. I've had 2 or 3
But not to do.
cases. Yeah, and I think many you might remember these from a couple of years ago. We had a couple of mentees who dropped the project in the middle, and it was because they switched jobs, or they just felt they could not spend the time, or maybe they felt the problem was beyond them. I think that happened in one case. So I would say somehow you have to gauge whether or not the candidate is, I mean, you need to, of course, figure out the candidate is competent, at least to some extent, and that they have what it takes. And of course, you can teach them some things along the way, but they need some base to start with. But you also need to gauge their level of interest. So I think if candidates can express their interest in a project, and it could be as simple as them having gone and read up your some of your documentation, maybe tried out the Hello World version of your system. That I think those are good signs. If you have somebody who's I guess not doesn't express that level of interest, maybe that's a bad sign. So yeah, I'm just pointing out some negative indicators here rather than positive indicators.
Yep.
Min, sorry, I have to drop right now.
Yep. Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
I just would would just want to add one thing that we look for is English. Unfortunately, since we have meetings every week, it's someone that we need to be able to communicate with, right? So English level is a plus, and internet connection. We've had sometimes collaborators that had a very bad internet connection, and for the meetings that makes it impossible to hold. And those weekly meetings are important. Usually they do help to solve things. So I mean, those two things are, and then curiousness, like Rama said, a curiousness of being able to, and even if they have developed in university any projects, that code that gives us, helps us get a sense of their abilities, right? Okay,
Yep.
I
Thank you,
have to
Maria.
drop. Thank you, everybody. See
Yep.
you. Bye bye.
Yep.
All right. I would just add to that. I don't think there's much to add to that, but from our perspective, talking with my co-mentor now, what we usually look for is someone that is, technical skills are very important. But I think the most important characteristics are just curiosity, right? And a bit of consistency and, quite good communication. So from what we have seen, like the successful mentees that we have seen is, their ability to learn independently. You can always hold their hands at the beginning stages, but, not do it all the time because they learn better independently. So we usually check to see if a candidate can learn independently. What have they worked in the past, and sometimes just persistence, right? Persistence when they come across issues, right? How do they debug it? How do they solve problems? So these are usually the things that we look for. Some we don't necessarily look for, hey, you have to be familiar with the technology.
Right.
We look at within maybe a month or two, or maybe even 3 weeks or so, you would definitely, with our help, you would definitely, come to be familiar with the technology. But what we look for is just curiosity and consistency. These two.
Some of the softer skills actually set a person apart, perhaps. Yeah. Thank you so much. That's very helpful. And then I have a couple questions for the mentees. During your 6 months participation in the program, do you have like a lesson or insight you gain, for example, maybe a challenge you overcame or a breakthrough that you're proud of that you believe will be valuable for new mentee to learn, to know?
Yep, I can start. A key lesson that I learned in this is that the scope can be misleading. And so the mentorship started with an objective, and I thought, oh, I can do this and do even more. Probably it depends because the project is really, this project is really big, and there are so many things connecting to, and it can be misleading, and small tasks can really become complex, and big tasks can end up really simple. So yeah, and so this mentorship just taught me how to break problems down and ask the right questions and iterate openly through the PR feedback and so on. Yeah, but the thing is that I started with one thing and I thought I could do even more, but in the end I transitioned to other problems that arose when I was searching and checking what I needed to do.
Yeah.
So things change. The big can be easy and the small can be hard. So yeah.
Be flexible, right? Yeah.
One important lesson I learned during the mentorship is that contributing to open source project is not just about writing code. but also about understanding the project and being patient with the complex problem. This experience taught me that the patient, continuous learning, and clear communication with mentor as important as technical skill. I also learned the importance of asking questions, document my work, and communication clearly.
Yeah. Communications, documenting your work. Yeah.
Yeah, just as the other mentee said, spending time reading previous pull requests, learning more about the project makes it easier for you to adapt, makes it easier for you to work faster, ask questions, try to learn, try to figure things out yourself sometimes, but asking questions, spend time with the history of the project, understand it better, read code, and it's really helpful.
Yep. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Your mentors and the community are there to help you. And also, yeah. So those are great tips. So I guess this is sort of related to that. But if you have anything else to add, any other practical tips to help future mentees to get started and be successful? In addition to what you said, I heard a lot about, obviously, have some technical skills, but be curious, be persistent, be able to problem solve, don't be afraid to ask questions, communicate with people. Are there anything else that we missed or you missed that you would like
Yeah.
people to know?
Yeah, let me just start that. Like if I was to distill it into three, first tip would be maybe spend time reading the project history, like I mentioned earlier, it gives you a good background, like I think Great mentioned, you don't necessarily look to see if you're familiar with the project before you're accepted to be a mentee. So when you do become a mentee, spend time understanding the project properly. Read previous pull requests, get you much better understanding. Number two is communicate frequently with your mentors. That's what they are there for. I think Ray can testify. I'm someone that likes to figure things out myself. And when I do eventually share my problem with my mentors, they are usually happy with the direction I'm going. They're happy with what I'm trying to do. But because of their level of experience, because of their familiarity with the project, making breakthroughs faster when I share the problem with them. So communication with the mentees will make not just efficient work, but you also work faster. And finally, I would say three-dimensional mentorship like a real engineering project, set milestones, set targets, track your progress, have an aim, and just be diligent about it, and everything will turn out fine.
Great. Thank you, Daniel. Carlos, do you have any
Yeah,
success tips?
yes. So if any of you are interested in the next program, please start by trying to contribute a little bit, something that almost every project of the LFDT has issues called good first issues that are very easy issues, and if you never did open source, it can be an easy way to start with it, and you can gain that mentee experience, even though if you are not going to participate in the program. And so, yeah, and it will help you if you are interested in the program, of course. And to resume all of this that we talked before, for me, the biggest takeaway tips that I can say to the new mentees is just stay curious and be proactive, and don't be afraid of making mistakes, because is doing mistakes that we learn. So yeah.
Open to others' feedback too. Yeah. Because your code is out there and everybody can see it. So you got to be, open to others' feedback. Osama, do you have anything or?
As Daniel and Carlos mentioned, start contributing early, fixing a small bug, improving documentation, or making minor improvement help you understand the project and increase your chance of being accepted.
Yeah.
Also, write a strong cover letter, clearly introduce yourself, explain your experience, and show you why you are interested in this project.
Mhm.
Also, be proactive and communication, engage with community, ask question, and don't hesitate to discuss the idea with mentors.
Great. I hear a lot of common themes. So thank you very much for your time. I do just have a few more slides just to quickly go through for those of you who are still online. Thank you for making time. In case you don't know about our mentorship program, this is a remote global program. You get hands-on experience for mentees. You're going to be guided by open source professionals. You will learn about open source infrastructure, tools, and best practices. You'll get regular feedback from your mentors. You get the chance to network with the bigger community, and you are building a portfolio of the work that you're doing. And toward the end, you'll get the recognition because you'll get the chance to, either write about, speak about your experience. And also this year, we're also going to pay our mentee stipend as well. And this is our program timeline. As you can see, as I mentioned, the project proposal is due this year. And our technical advisory council have a mentorship task force. They'll review all these proposals and decide with staff which ones will be accepted to be put on the LFX mentorship platform for mentees to apply. The application is usually early April to mid-May, and then the mentors will review the applications and make the selections. And we target for the new mentees to start essentially the very early days of June, and the participation is essentially June through November. If you're interested in the this year's timeline, you can find on our mentorship documentation website here. And yeah, so for if you're thinking about mentoring and proposing a project, think about what kind of needs you have. Is it a feature? You have a feature gap? You have any documentation or some other gaps in your project? Maybe think about if this project will bring in new contributors. Try to see if you can co-mentor with somebody to share the load. Submit a project proposal. Make sure you define what are the outcomes you're looking for. And in terms of lift, I think the mentors already commented pretty well. They're making a project proposal, they'll review the mentee application, they'll support mentee onboarding and ramp up, providing ongoing guidance and feedback, and model open source best practices, introduce mentees to the broader community. So those are kind of the mentors' responsibilities. For mentee, if you're interested in applying to our mentorship program, here's kind of the flow. Once we open up our mentorship projects on our FX mentorship platform, you want to make sure you are eligible to apply, right? And you will have multiple projects on there. Which ones are you interested in? And you'll prepare your your applications, and you'll apply directly on LFX mentorship. And I include a link to the application process as well. And with that, we're right on time. Maybe I'll just give people a couple minutes. If you have any questions, you can speak up directly and see if we can, I can stay here and see if I can answer your question directly. There's some comments on the chat. I'm going to stop sharing. In case you don't know, just put on the chat one more time. I know David already did. This is our mentorship program. Is the full documentation online too. So Miko, I just posted the link right above your question. I think that should answer your question. And hello?
The question.
What's your question?
I asked the question and you answered. Thank you. Oh.
You asked the question early on. Let's see. I am not finding your question. Can you just tell me your question? What is your question specifically? If the full documentation is online, yes, I just posted the link. Oh, I um apply. Oh, that's a LFX mentorship question. In progress, that means a mentee has already been selected, or mentee or mentees already been selected and working on the mentorship project. Apply now, that means the mentorships are open for application. So for us, Elf Decentralized Trust, we're part of the Linux Foundation mentorship program. So when you go to LFX mentorship platform, you will see all the mentorships that are open either for applications or in progress or have already been completed. All right, I'm a first year student. I've chosen blockchain specification in my degree. I want to learn more. What I need to Okay. Um, yes. So for Elf Decentralized Trust, we have, I believe, 16 projects currently. We also have lots of labs in our lab. So those are not as mature projects as the full-fledged projects. So all of these projects are open source projects. Their code is all open. If you want to learn more about them, you're definitely welcome to, go to the GitHub, read the documentation, look at the code. And as Carlos mentioned, a lot of those projects may have a first issue, like a good first issue. Those would be great to, if you just want to get your hands wet before you apply to be a mentee. Those first good issues would be a good place to start. But I will also post our projects on our website. So that's the Elf Decentralized Trust projects. That's all of the projects. If you just click on any of the projects, you will get, their GitHub, you can connect on Discord. There's some documentation or maybe even videos if you're interested in watching. Oh, what are the requirements for applying to the mentorship? Any essential prerequisites? Yeah, usually the projects will have some sort of basic, maybe you need to learn, you need to know, I don't know, Go or C, some sort of programming language, or being able to speak English, some other basic ones. But depending on the mentorship project, they may have some specific prerequisites as well. That will be determined once we have all the project proposal reviewed and decided these are the ones that we're going to post on LFX platform for mentees to apply. So if you just click on, once we open them up for applications on LFX mentorship, if you click on the project, you should be able to view all that information. Yes, mentorship is free. You don't need to pay to participate in our mentorship program. In fact, for mentees who are selected and complete the mentorship successfully, you will actually be provided last year we provided our mentees with travel stipend for them to attend a conference in person to just broaden and continue that open source contribution journey. This year, we're going to provide a stipend for mentees who successfully complete our mentorship program. Only 2 projects are in apply. Oh, for LFX, I am not the most familiar with what the program timelines for other projects and foundations at the Linux Foundation. As I mentioned, LFX Mentorship it's just an application platform that we use, and it's used by all Linux Foundation projects who offer mentorship program. For Elf Decentralized Trust, our projects will be on there early April for mentee applicants to apply. Hopefully, I answer all your questions. All right, great. Thank you so much. I want to really say thank you to the mentor and mentee panelists, so Rama and Great, and mentees Carlos and Osama and Daniel. Thank you so much for making time. It's very great to hear the experience, and thank you for being here and sharing your insights and experience with others who are considering participating in our program, whether mentors or mentees. So really appreciate it.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you. Bye.
Thank you.